Hi, my name is Warner Moore. I'm the founder and CEO of Gamma Force, where we help tech and health tech companies with cybersecurity strategy through fractional executive services and expert strike teams. Today, I have Michael Parmley with us of Volli Communications. Michael, can you share more about yourself, your role, your organization, and anything more you'd like to share that would set context for our work together?
Yeah, Volli Communications was founded in 2012, and I was one of the founding members. My current position is the Director of Information Services. And um, essentially, we're a telecom company. We specialize in providing SIP trunks to businesses and to enterprise organizations. In fact, some of our partners are PBX developers so that we can um, build into their boxes the SIP trunks for their customers to make it an easy onboarding process.
Great. Thanks, Michael. What were your primary drivers that motivated you to seek help working with us? What's your why?
Well, about 9 years ago, we lost probably the most tech savvy member of our company. Went on to form another company. And um, on my primary role back then was lead programmer. And I lacked a certain amount of experience, especially in Linux sysadmin and to a certain amount um, server maintenance and management. So that's when I first got introduced to Warner, and I was really impressed with his knowledge and experience, especially as a sysadmin. And he helped us through that difficult transition of losing uh, a key employee and in putting in place some systems to continue to make improvements. Unfortunately, the company wasn't in a very stable uh, financial situation at the time, so we weren't able to long-term contractually link ourselves with Warner. But later, when he formed Gamma Force, we reached out to him to try to get expertise that not only in the Linux sysadmin area, but by then he had expanded his team, especially in the cybersecurity arena and firewall management, that sort of thing. That again, our company is small, so we lack the funding to have a full-time cybersecurity guy, a full-time firewall expert, a full-time Linux sysadmin, a full-time server maintenance person. So it made sense for us to contract with somebody who had all those things that we desperately needed and could provide two things, essentially. One is they do provide ad hoc emergency services when things break, and it's especially painful if it's customer affecting. And they also provide guidance to put in systems that make us more self-sufficient on an ongoing basis, while at the same time dramatically improving our overall posture in terms of reliability of our product and planning for um, improvements that we can make. It's kind of like having an engineering team that you can discuss things with and make decisions on a long-term basis that's going to better the company. And then, of course, all the systems they can put in place to help us maintain those improvements over a long period. All of that has been essential to our growth as a company.
Thanks, Michael. Something I do like to say is we're not trying to take ownership of the folks we work with, take ownership of the things. We build capabilities in our clients' organizations, don't want to introduce a single point of failure by working with us. I appreciate how you highlighted that. Let's talk a bit about how we work together. What team members work with you, and how do we work?
Well, the first guy that comes to mind is Randall McFarland. Um, we often chat via Microsoft Teams, sometimes Slack, um, on a regular basis. Sometimes it's just a Q&A that only takes him a few seconds, but he responds quickly. And then sometimes we have to schedule time for, more in-depth work. And there are a few occasions where he's going to take a project and go work on it on his own and then contact us when he has a deliverable. So he's the primary person we deal with on a day-to-day basis. However, at different times, we've engaged a lot of different team members. Um, the firewall expert, Chris, his last name escapes me. What is it?
Bethel.
Bethel. I'm sorry. He is a sharp guy. Um, he, in fact, helped us transition from aged out Cisco ASA firewalls onto new platforms using pfSense. It was a situation where we didn't know where we should go. Should we continue with Cisco? Should we go to FortiGate? So we had to weigh the pros and cons of the usability and the performance, as well as the cost. And, through Warner and Chris, we were able to settle on the pfSense platform. And we engineered it not only to replace our existing ASAs, but to dramatically improve the security and the capability of what we were trying to do. Part of that upgrade was to introduce a BGP controlled set of IP addresses that we got through Aaron so that we could provide faster, virtually seamless failover for some of our registering customers. So they didn't have to be down while they had to re-register with a different IP address when we updated a FQDN. The IP address stayed the same. Server A goes down, server B picks it up, and virtually seamless transition for our customers. All that engineering effort was something that, we just didn't know how to solve that problem to make our customers not have to go through that painful re-registration process. Through Warner and Chris, we were able to develop a plan and implement it from beginning to end, and it's working very well today.
Yeah.
We also engaged a couple other members of the team, and I don't want to, I don't remember the names, and I apologize for that, but we had a security review that he did early on to show our vulnerabilities, of which we had many. A part of the process of correcting that is we've gone to all internal IPs for virtually everything in our stacks in both data centers, with the exception of those things that we actually need to have customer facing, such as our web servers. And even those are, much better protected now than they used to be. We no longer log in with root passwords to any of our servers. We have Ansible towers that allow us to turn up servers quickly and put our SSH keys on there without ever even knowing a root password for any server. It's all in a lockbox. So the security footing of the company is night and day from where it was.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. That BGP project was a big one to help increase reliability and availability for your customers. Talked a bit about some of our bigger projects. Can you talk a little more about the business side of it? What impact we've made on your organization through our work together?
Well, probably one of the biggest challenges I'd just like to highlight is we brought on a large customer that had originally planned to be SIP trunking IP auth to our two SIP stacks, which we could have handled easily with our existing platform. However, because of delays and the need to get off their previous supplier, which was Verizon. Um, they had to move 1,500 registering AdTran devices quick, fast, in a hurry. Now, the problem with that is that overtaxed our ability to backhaul all of their voice, which normally we don't do with IP auth customers. The voice goes straight from the carrier to the SBC of the customer. But now we had a need to turn up a lot of servers, turn up a third data center, all to handle that RTP traffic. In addition to that, we had to re-engineer the way we allowed RTP to be flowing through our entire system. Previously, we just had RTP servers locally to the SIP stack they were registered in. That was insufficient. It didn't provide adequate reliability or redundancy for such a large number of customers. So what we engineered was a way to span all three data centers with RTP traffic, regardless of where the customer is registered. They're on the same set of 24 RTP servers, all acting in concert with high availability, hot failover capabilities. And that was a huge project that allowed us to continue our relationship with that new customer that otherwise, we'd have had a tough time keeping.
Makes sense. Thank you. Our work together demonstrates really a great way how we work, both as fractional executives helping with strategy, and then having an expert engineering team to help support in key areas, and being able to change that over time with our focus working with Volli around resiliency, availability. I thank you for your time today, Michael. Is there anything else you'd like to share about you, your company, or anything about our work together?
I'd say that the final thing I'd like to say is it's really tough in this industry, and I've been in contract relationships with various different folks at different times, and the level of professionalism that you get sometimes is underwhelming. We contracted with a place out of Cleveland for Linux sysadmin prior to getting with Gamma Force, and much of the work that was done we ended up having to redo. We haven't had that one time with Gamma Force. I think part of it is that we bring a problem to Gamma Force early on. We have an engineering discussion so that we make sure we take the right approach the first time. And then we can engineer how to actually accomplish it. And they give you the tool to manage it after they're done. So it's not a come in, patch it, and then you wonder what they actually did and what you're going to do if it breaks. By giving us the tools to move forward, we reduce the amount of time delay if something does go wrong before it is fixed. And B, it reduces our need for, an ongoing expense, a contract out. So it's been a really good relationship, and we're very pleased with the results.
Well, thanks again, Michael. It's been a pleasure working with you and your colleagues as well. Back when I was a leader and manager in organizations, and that was a pain point I often had, tactical service providers who might get something in place, but really didn't put the engineering hat on. It's been great to build a world-class engineering team and operate more like a tech company than a services company. And I'd say that's a unique way we approach working with you and our clients. Again, thank you, Michael. You have a great day, and I'm sure we'll see each other again soon.
All righty, sir. Have a good one.